Hello everyone, so welcome to today's video. I am so excited about this one because I have the best multitasking tool that I have discovered, and I've been using this tool for several months now and I have been blown away by the results. I found myself a few days ago using this specific tool for more than just what it is intended for and what it's described as, and I was just blown away. And I knew I had to share with you guys in a video all the ways that I can use this one tool. And I'm talking about the BK Beauty 101 brush. It is called the Contour Foundation Brush. So it's designed to be for foundation, but in today's video, I'm going to show you how I use this for my entire routine, start to finish. The only thing, obviously, I can't do my brows with it and eyeshadow and my lips. So I will kind of skip over those parts in today's video, but I will show you how I use this one brush to do my foundation, my concealer, setting powder, blush, highlight, bronzer / contour. I can do it all with this one brush, and I'm going to show you exactly how to start with my foundation. I'm going to take the top part of the brush, that's the highest angle point of it, and I'm going to mix my foundations on my palette, and then I like to just kind of use that brush to just stipple it on. Because remember, we're using this brush for every single step of my routine for complexion. And so I like to just stipple it on, and then I do like to take just the more flat side and just start kind of buffing this foundation into my skin. And I can also take the shorter side of the brush and just go over my eyelids to kind of prep them for my eyeshadow for the day. And what's the biggest thing for me with this brush is the fact that there aren't any streaks left on my face as I'm blending in my foundation. I have used your standard typical foundation brush that looks more like a flat paddle style that you kind of just like swipe on, and it always leaves streaks. Stippling brush is the same way. I never found a brush ever, and over the years of using makeup and wearing foundation, a brush that actually blended my foundation, made my skin look flawless, and there was absolutely no streaks. And I feel like I finally have found that brush with the BK Beauty 101 brush. So as you can see, my foundation is smooth, even, it's flawless, it looks like skin, it's well blended, and I actually end up using less product because this sort of spreads everything very, very easily and over a larger surface of my face, so I don't have to keep going back in as I would with my beauty sponge or a different brush that it just tends to not spread the product. I'm also going to show you how I use this brush for my concealer. I'm using the Huda Beauty concealer. So with a damp beauty sponge, I'm going to go over the concealer because I feel like that's really the only part of my complexion routine that I prefer to go over the area with the sponge, just to make sure everything is blended. Okay, so now that I have my concealer done, I need to add a little bit of powder to my face. I normally don't use a lot of powder, but when I do, I use the Kosas. This is the Cloud Set in Airy, and it's just a great powder that doesn't look like powder and it doesn't look heavy. So I'm going to take the same brush and just kind of go over my entire face just to set it. So with this brush being angled, it's going to be shorter here and it comes up at a slant. I'm going to use the shorter side with my cream bronzer, and today I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, and I just take the brush and just kind of pat it right into the product. And then I'm going to use the same brush for this step, and I'm going to add sort of like a little bit of structure to the face, but not necessarily like super contour and chiseled, but just enough to give my face a little bit more shape. And that brush really sits right there in the hollows of my cheekbones and allows me to apply my bronzer and my contour. So I'm not going to use an actual contour product that's a little bit more on the cooler side. I'm going to use my bronzer in that area, and I'm also going to pull that bronzer up as well. And just like that, it blends beautifully. I'm going to keep working this in and taking it up through the hairline as well on the temples. And it's really very little effort to get this brush to really blend everything. I just adore this brush. I'm going to take it on the side, and I'm going to just kind of add a little bit of my bronzer to my nose and just kind of stippling it on the tops here where I would normally put blush, but I like to kind of blend my bronzer just a little bit over this area, kind of like in a W motion. And then I can also take that same product if I'm in a hurry and I want to define my eyes. I can take the same bronzer on that shorter side of the brush and just kind of wedge that into my crease and put some mascara on and be done for the day. And then just for a little bit more bronze, I'm going to take a powder bronzer. This is from Jaclyn Cosmetics. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that and just kind of go over the cream. Not necessary with that cream bronzer from Charlotte. It stays in place and it doesn't need to be set. But I like to layer my products. As you probably already know if you've watched some of my videos, I like to mix foundations, mix my bronzers, blushes, layer them, create new colors. That's just the part of the fun of doing makeup. Okay, so I join you back with my eyebrows, eye makeup, and my lip products. I'm going to list everything down below, but I do need to do my blush and my highlight to kind of just pull all of this together. So I like to work off my palette. I've already applied my blush, and I've kind of worked that product right into my brush. And the blush today is the Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Blush in the shade called Southbound. And I like to just start by doing a stippling motion and blending the blush into my bronzer. And I do like to take it up a little bit higher, like up towards like almost the under eye area, but not quite underneath, just a little bit higher. And then whatever's left, I like to just stipple it lightly on the apples of my cheek, over the nose, like the tip of my nose. And I do like to take the blush too sometimes around like my temple area. And that's such a pretty color, so fresh looking and just really nice formula. Then for my highlight, I'm using my light up stick from Westman Atelier in the shade called Nectar. And this is like a kind of glossy, very balmy, dewy finish. And it does leave that, I guess glossy is the best way to describe it, finish to the skin. So it definitely is something that I like to use on occasion. On its own, but as you can see, it just kind of looks wet on the skin. And I'm going to go over this with a powder just to kind of tone down that glossiness, but I do like that finish. It's really, really pretty. And I'm using the higher end of the brush to blend that in. Then the powder highlight is French Vanilla from Laura Geller. And again, using that top side of the brush, I'm going to go right over the Westman Atelier highlighter. And I'm going to take some of this powder down my nose. I didn't use the stick highlighter from Westman Atelier on my nose just because it is a little bit more of a kind of greasier texture. I don't want it to sound like a bad thing, but I don't put it on my nose because that's sometimes where I do get a little bit of natural oil production, so I don't use that highlighter in that area, but I do take a little bit of powder highlight. Again, this is a very soft highlight. And here's a close-up of everything done with this one brush. I find that this brush is completely an invaluable tool in my collection, and I think that for $34 and being able to do all the steps that I showed you today makes it worth every single penny. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I have not found a foundation brush that I enjoy for makeup application, especially the foundation portion, because of the streaks that are sort of one of those things that you will come across when you use foundation brushes, and I tend to not like the look of that, and I always end up going over it with a beauty sponge. So that's why I just start off with the sponge anyways and just kind of skip the brush step, because I never really liked the way it looked until this one. And I do think that it is worth every single penny, and I think if you try it, you will enjoy it. And that versatility makes this really special and a standout brush in my collection. So I hope that you found this video helpful. and enjoy the tutorial. Everything that I use will be listed down below for you in case you're interested in trying any products that I'm wearing today. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos in the future. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's on the screen. I hope to connect with you there. Take care, and I'll talk to you very soon.